صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المظلومين المعصومين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين وحجته على العالمين، إمامنا وصاحب نعمتنا ومولانا مهدي هذه الأمة وطاووس أهل الجنة الحجة ابن الحسن المهدي، أرواحنا وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم وقرآنه العظيم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: ولا تتخذوا أيمانكم دخلا بينكم فتزلوا قدم بعد ثبوتها. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Do not make your oath a means of deception among of yourself, resulting in the slip of foot after it was firmly fixed. This is the ayah number 94 from Surah Al-Nahl. And before I start, is al-Zahra Mubarak for all of you, inshallah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill your life with the happiness and faith and iman, inshallah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you, protect your family, and protect all the believers, inshallah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the life and opportunity to see our Imam Ajjalallahu Farajahu Sharif, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad ali Muhammad. So the ayah, just to start my short lecture, it's from Surah Al-Nahl, as I mentioned. The scholar said this ayah came in, after the Wilayah and after the Ghadir Khum. In particular, there is many of the Muslims in that time, they give Amir al-Mu'mineen oath. What oath? It was the Wilayah. Right? They give him oath, and they said, you are Waliullah. They accept, and they shake their hand, and they accept Wilayat Amir al-Mu'mineen. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, then after that, they change. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describe it in a very nice way. He said they are, they are on the bridge, and and their foot it slip. When they slip, they fall. And for example, in the Ziyarat Ashura, what we said in Ziyarat Ashura, said, Oh Allah, ثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين. What is that? Firm my foot on the path of Hussein and the companion of Hussein. It's a dua. And we say it like in the sujood, because it's a very important and very dangerous. Maybe you think you are praying, we are praying, we do sadaqah, we do this and that, and you think we are safe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, no, the dua is not enough. It requires action. It requires understanding to keep your foot on the path of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, on the path of Salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. So, the takeaway, I want to take this today, to understand that if you understand this, this is going to benefit you. If I ask you, what our Imam Al-Hujjah Ajjalallahu Farajahu Sharif, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, want from each of us, If I ask any of sister or any of the brother and I said, what the Imam Mahdi want from you? What the answer? What Imam want from us now? What he want from us? It's very important because part of the Eid al-Zahra alayhi salam, some scholars said this is when the tansib, this is when, the 9th of Rabi' al-Awwal is the first day of the wilayah and imamat al-Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman ajal Allah farajahu al-Sharif. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So that what our Imam want from us, this is very important, right? To understand this, and we should teach our children in school, everywhere. If you understand this, then that's going to help you. So the number one Imam want from us is to know him. Not just his name, what his name, his father, lineage, his attribute, his quality, his life, description, everything. Like your son, when they bring 1 million child in front of you and they ask you to find your son, you make mistake? You choose somebody else? No. You're going to go and select your son even if there is 1 billion people there. You must know your Imam like you know your son, like you know your brother, you know your mother, and more. Why is it? It's important, very important. Because Ahlul Bayt said there will be so much of false of Mahdi. So many of those that said we are the Mahdi, this is this and that. If you don't know, if you have a doubt, you don't have a good idea who is the Imam, you think, Hajj Bassim, or you think Sayyid Muhsin, this and that. Many people, they said, I am Mahdi then. And you see there is so many of those being deceived, claimed. Someone come on the, Hajj Hadi, I think he, in his lecture, in Muharram mentioned this guy, and see there's the follower, hundred of thousand of. How can someone like that deceive people? How people is being deceived to leave Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi salatu wasalam, and choose somebody else. No comparison whatsoever. No comparison. You compare the earth to the heaven, but the people are being deceived, and the people, they go and select somebody, not Amir al-Mu'mineen. After they give their oath, like the ayah said, after they give their promise, it's the same thing. We must know our Imam so we'll never be deceived. When someone comes and said, I am Mahdi, and said, go away. When our Imam, the true Imam, come and call of us, we know who is he, and we go to him, and we help him, and we support him. If we don't know him, this is the greatest problem. If you don't know enough about your Imam, ma'rifah, they call it, ma'rifat al-Imam, very important. And there is a book on this, and there's so much information about the Imam you need to know. And that is wajib. This is an obligate in each of us as a follower of Ahlul Bayt, alayhim afdal salatu wasalam. That is number one. The number one, you know the Imam, have ma'rifah of the Imam. What is the number two? After you know him, you must make the people know him. Arifhu. Right? So what you do, you introduce the Imam to others, to your family, to your neighbor, to your friend, your sister, your brother, your children. So then after you know him, then you introduce him, make the others know him, and introduce him. And that is the second wajib. This is the second obligate. You know him, then you introduce him like a other. You teach the other who is the Imam, and make the other know Imam enough. What is number three? You should not defy any command and order of the Imam. What does that mean? What the Imam wants from us? Not to do like sin. Do good. Right? Do good, not to do like sin, basically. So when you committed any sin, you are, you go far from the Imam. More you do sin, more you do mistake, more you do wrong, you stay away from the Imam. When the Imam comes, there is no way you know the Imam. If your life filled with the mistake and evil and all that, you will not identify the Imam. What Imam al-Hussein alayhi afdal salatu wasalam said in Ashura? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He said, he introduced himself, said, I am the Hussein. They said he come wearing the imamah of Rasulullah, the shirt of Rasulullah, aba'ah of Rasulullah. The camel is the camel of Rasulullah. The sandal is the sandal of Rasulullah. And he said, who I am? If you don't know, I am the son, the only son of the Prophet here. What they did, they start to shed air on him. And they some of them even cursed the Imam. He said, Wallah, I'm not surprised. Imam Hussein said, I'm not surprised. Why? فَلَقَدْ مُلِئَتْ بُطُونَكُمْ. You've been committed sin day and night and all that. There is no way you identify me. There is no way you know me. So that's very important, not to commit a sin, not to do something wrong. That number 3. What is number 4? You connect with the Imam. You have some kind of connection with the Imam. For example, you do dua for the Imam. When you do dua, like we do like in our salat, Allahumma kullu walika, this is we do dua for our Imam. When you do ziyarat Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he said, oh Allah, I'm doing ziyarah for me, for my father, for my parent, for my children, and for my Imam, in behalf of my Imam. When you go visit Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, when you take in the idhn, the permission to istidhan, said, oh Allah, I'm visiting Imam al-Hussein, for me, and I am niyabatan of my Imam. And when you do sadaqah, you pay sadaqah, you give like, $10, so this is $10 for my family, this is $10 for my Imam. And so you connect, look like, you live with the Imam. Imam is there with you. All action you do daily, any action, if it's good, you share it like with the Imam. You do like salat, not salat wajib, but any salat mustahab, or fail, and share the thawab with the Imam. You create a connection with the Imam. Do salam. If you cannot do all this, when you wake up in the morning, Assalamu alayka Sayyidi wa Mawlaya ya Sahib al-Zaman. Just simple like that. Just do salam for the Imam every day. So you create that connection with the Imam. Those, the 4 most important things that you must know and you must do daily. So when the Imam appears, you will never make a mistake. You can identify him and you will be one of his support, inshallah. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And the question is come, how I make sure my feet, it's still on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. Fix on the Sirat, and I will not slip and fall like in the fire hair. How I do this? So there is ayah in the Quran, very nice ayah in the Quran. I'm going to share it with you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَوْ أَنَّا كَتَبْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ أَنْ اقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ أَوْ اخْرُجُوا عَنْ دِيَارِكُمْ مِنْ دِيَارِكُمْ مَا فَعَلُوهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا منهم ولو أنهم فعلوا ما يوعظون به لكان خيرا لهم وأشد تثبيتا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if they obey the Prophet, if they obey the Imam, they have ashad tathbit. They will be strong and standing on the sirat. They said, like, in the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. He was in travel with his companion, ashab. So the Prophet said, they were fasting. He said, because we are traveling, we should break our fast. He said, لَيْسَ الْبِرُّ الصِّيَامُ فِي السَّفَرِ. He said, there is no khair, there is no good. You're traveling and you are fasting. So the Prophet himself will break his fast. Companion, those who love and follow the Prophet, they break their fast. There is one of those, some of those companions, they refuse. And the Prophet looked at them and said, they said, eat. He said, no, we're still fasting. And the Prophet himself will break his fast with them. And he stayed like in a fast. Why are you staying fast? He said, this is khair. And khair is good in the traveling or not traveling. Why I should break my fast? And the Prophet himself said, I said it's not khair. He said, no, it's khair. So what the ayah said, if you want to establish your feet on the sirat al-mustaqim, on the sirat and the wilayat of Muhammad and Al Muhammad, you must obey them, like obey Rasulullah, obey your Imam. And like the story of the Jaysh of Osama, and there is a many example. Don't have time to go through them. But I'll share with you 2 examples today, in positive and negative, quickly. The positive one, the one that his foot is established and the sirat, is Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salatu wassalam. The situation was Abu al-Fadl in it in the day of Ashura. The pressure was on him. It's immense. But what's make Abu al-Fadl is what? His loyalty and obedience for the Imam. His obedience, my dear brothers and sisters, unmatched. You never see like the obedience of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salatu wasalam ever. And they said he never, if he come to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he will not sit, he will stand. Until Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam said, sit, and he sit. And he's the brother, and he's the commander of the army of Imam al-Hussein. But even outside of Karbala, he would not sit until Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam said, sit. Imagine. This obedient, complete submission to the Imam, it's amazing. And for this reason, what's end? Imam Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam is what? The door of hajat right now. If you have a hajat, he's so high in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the eyes of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdal salatu wasalam, that has become the door of hajat. The second, the negative one, the negative example, there is a man called Abi Hamza al-Bata'ini, they call him. And this man, he was the agent of Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salatu wasalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He was a wakil. You know what's wakil, right? Wakil means agent of the Imam. So the level of this man is the level of marji' right now, like Sayyid Sistani is, it's the marji', like in that level. So he was, when they took the Imam to the prison, Imam stayed there 10 years at minimum. In that time, this man, he played as a connection between the Shia and the Imam. He's the agent of the Imam, very respected man, a mu'min, a believer. Imam trust him. So all the khums, all the money, all the gold and everything was coming to this man. And when the Imam passed away in the jail and come, and the Imam of Imam al-Rida alayhi salatu wasalam start, this, what this man did, he said, Imam al-Kadhim did not die, he will come back. Why? Because he don't want to give all the money, 10 years of gold and this and that, they were so much. So he said, no, Imam al-Rida is not Imam. And Imam al-Kadhim will come back, and when he come back, I'll give him this. And he refused Imamah, they call him Waqifi, refused the Imamah of Imam al-Rida alayhi salatu wasalam. Agent, so big, scholar. Now, said Imam al-Rida sent behind Ali ibn al-Washa, one of his companions. Imam al-Rida was in Khurasan, in Iran in that time. He sent behind Ali al-Washa, one of his agents, good scholar. And Ali ibn al-Washa narrated this. He said, I came to Imam al-Rida, he sent me behind me, and I came, he said, Imam al-Rida, when he looked to me, he said, Oh Ali, mata al-yawm Abi Hamza al-Bata'ini. Today, Abu Hamza al-Bata'ini died. He's just dead. وأدخل قبره. Abu Hamza in al-Medina, in Saudi Arabia, Imam was in Khurasan. He said he died, and they right now is in his grave, and the two angels, Munkar and Nakir, they come to him, they talking to him right now. So the Munkar and Nakir come to Abu Hamza. He was like in the grave. And they come to Abu Hamza and said, Abu Hamza, who's your Lord? He said, Allah Rabbi. He said, who's your Prophet? He said, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. He said, Prophet Muhammad is my Prophet. And he said, who is your Imam? He said, Ali ibn Abi Talib. Then the angel said, Thumma, and next, he said, Al-Hasan al-Mujtaba. He said, next, he said, Al-Husayn Aba Abdullah. He said, next, he said, Ali Zayn al-Abidin. Next, Ja'far al-Sadiq. Muhammad al-Baqir. Next, Ja'far al-Sadiq. Next, Musa ibn Ja'far. Next, Imam al-Rida said, describing him. Describe what happened to him. He said, فَتَلَجْلَجَ. He said, like this, When he said, who's next? Who's after Musa ibn Ja'far? He said, فَتَلَجْلَجَ. He said, he could not say Imam Rida. If he said Imam Rida, he did not follow him. And he could not say Imam Kadhim, gonna come back. He cannot lie there. He said, Imam Rida alayhi salam said, فَتَلَجْلَجَ. He said, he could not say anything. He said, then they shout on him. فَصَرَخَ بِهِ. Then they call him, who's your Imam? Who's next? He kept silent. He said, Imam Rida, فَضَرَبَاهُ بِمَقْمَعَةٍ مِّن نَارٍ. He said, they hit him with the, the salt fire, with the fire, kind of a cable or some fire, it's come on him. And then the whole grave has become a piece of the fire. And he will stay in this fire till the day of the Qiyamah. And from there they take him to the big fire. And he was an agent. He was a wakil of the Imam. But you can see, if you don't know enough ma'rifah of the Imamah, you don't know the Imam enough, you will be like this. For this reason, why is that so important? He said, Thabbit qadamay, make my feet, establish firm on the wilayat of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam teaches dua al-ghariq, right? Anybody know dua al-ghariq? Like in your sujood, what you say in dua al-ghariq? Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Thabbit qalbi. Make my heart, thabbit mean, it just keep my heart, establish my heart. Keep my heart on the wilayat of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, on this deen, the true deen, the deen of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. It's a very important, my dear brother and sister. Again, Eid Mubarak to all of you, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us on the path of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the opportunity to be among of Ansar, supporter of our Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman, Ajjal Allah farajahu al-Sharif. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala consider us and recognize us among of those came and give tahni'ah to Sayyida al-Zahra alayha afdal as-salatu wa-salam. And we ask the Sayyida al-Zahra alayha salam to look to you, to see you, and to accept your a'mal. You are here, inshallah, and to accept your dua. If you have a haja, ask Sayyida al-Zahra alayha afdal as-salatu wa-salam today. And for our community, for all believers, and for Hasib, one of the youth, and for all the mu'mineen and mu'minat who have haja, ask Sayyida al-Zahra alayha afdal as-salatu wa-salam today. And we say, Ya Allah, inni atawassalu ilayka wa atawajjahu ilayka bi sayyidati wa mawlati فاطمة الزهراء عليها أفضل الصلاة والسلام: يا زهراء، يا بنت رسول الله، يا بنت رسول الله، اشفعي لنا عند الله، اشفعي لنا عند الله، اشفعي لنا عند الله. يا وجيهة عند الله، اشفعي لنا عند الله. يا وجيهة عند الله، اشفعي لنا عند الله. وإلى أمواتكم، أمواتنا، أموات جميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات، رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة تسبقها الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.